Good morning, Peter Goertz. I'm a psychiatrist. Are psychotic patients actually in contact with spirits? Do spirits exist? I can't prove or disprove that. And maybe science as we know it is not applicable to that. Maybe the world is much stranger than we can even conceive of. Are we the psychotic ones because we're not open-minded, because we don't stay open to the possibility that spirits exist? And if we don't understand something, that does not mean it can't exist. So if we don't understand something, it definitely can still exist. So psychosis may be tuning into a different reality, maybe a spirit world. People have done exorcism in other people who've been what they thought were possessed by spirits. An example of a situation that was puzzling to me years ago, I was working on an inpatient psychiatric ward, and I think she was a middle-aged lady who just moved into a new apartment, and it was a doorman building. And one day she ran down to the doorman from her apartment naked and very anxious and upset. And she was in the bathtub and she saw two people, and she lived alone. So she was in the bathtub and she saw two people come into the bathroom, and she just became panicked and ran down to the doorman. And when she talked about those people that she'd seen with the doorman, he said, "Oh, they sound like the people who used to live there, the couple who used to live there." And I treated the patient in the hospital without medication, no antipsychotic. And she did not seem psychotic to me. And she was discharged without medication and seemed okay. And another patient told me about an experience with a UFO. So you hear things as a psychiatrist, and in my opinion, we want to stay open-minded. We hear all kinds of things that may sound very strange to other people. And as far as the basics, we want to be pragmatic. So if it seems to be an emergency, if someone's a danger to themselves or others, if they seem unable to care for themselves, seem gravely disabled, we want to consider psychiatric hospitalization. We want to consider medication, whether or not they're really in touch with spirits, or whether or not they saw a UFO. If they're in an emergency, we want to act accordingly, in my opinion. If it's not an emergency, it's all up to the patient, in my opinion. So they can choose if they want treatment or not, if they want medication or not, if they want psychotherapy or not. And whether or not someone has seen spirits, whether or not they had an encounter with a UFO, one basic question is, are they functioning? Are they enjoying their life? And I think that's where the DSM is helpful, because generally, if someone is functioning or enjoying life, doing well, they do not meet criteria for any psychiatric diagnosis. In many of the criteria for illnesses in DSM, there is a statement that social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning are affected. So functioning, though, in some people's opinion at least, our society may be so dysfunctional that functioning in our society may not be a good thing. So there are different aspects, but I do think the DSM is helpful in that respect, that generally, in order to receive any psychiatric diagnosis, you have to have impairment of functioning. So if someone's hearing voices but doing well, enjoying life, they don't have a psychiatric illness. And we want to be open-minded in both directions. So if someone's hearing voices, they may just be tuning into a different aspect of life. They may be psychic, intuitive. However, they may also be psychotic. We want to look at how they're doing in their life, how they're, quote, functioning. And I've seen psychotic patients whom I've not treated with medication because they didn't want medication. And they've come for psychotherapy. And I think medication is not the only approach. In fact, an older psychiatrist where I used to work in a large city hospital had in the past treated schizophrenic patients just with psychotherapy. So psychotic patients may well benefit from psychotherapy, and of course also emotional and social support. And whether or not they want medication, those aspects can still help. Thank you very much.